Tyler from Aspire Sports, and who were some of the top waiver wire ads for week 7 of the fantasy football season? I'm going to give you my top waiver wire ads for this week. There's 6 teams on bye week this week. And especially with all the injuries that have happened already this season, guys on IR, it's going to be crucial for you to try to get some of these guys on the waiver wire. To be honest with you, it's not the best week for waiver wire, but you're probably going to need some of these players to fill in the gaps for this upcoming week. So I make new content like this every single day, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And with that being said, let's get into the video. The first guy is going to be J.D. McKissic. Now, I'm looking at all the players right now that are under 50% rostered in Yahoo leagues. And currently, J.D. McKissic is rostered in 42% of your Yahoo leagues right now. Now, he's probably not available in a lot of leagues if you're watching right now, but go and check if he is, because going forward, he needs to be rostered in a lot more leagues. Especially because you have Antonio Gibson right now. He's banged up. He's dealing with the shin injury. He left this game twice, ultimately didn't come back. Is probably going to miss some time, I'd imagine. And if he misses time, J.D. McKissic is going to step in there. He's not going to be the lead guy and see all the work, but his role is going to increase. He's already playing all the third down work right now. 2-minute offense. And this defense right now does not look very good. So J.D. McKissic is going to be very involved in this offense. So he needs to be the top waiver wire ad this week if he's available in your league. So chances are he's not available in a lot of leagues out there, but under 50% right now. That number needs to go up. So J.D. McKissic is the first player. The next point on the list is going to be Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman is currently being rostered in 28% of your leagues. And Baltimore absolutely beat up in the Los Angeles Chargers in this game. And if you look at Rashad Bateman's stat line, it wasn't really impressive. He had 4 catches, 29 yards, but he had a team-high 6 targets. And that's really in his first game with Lamar Jackson. First game, he really hasn't practiced with Lamar Jackson, didn't really practice with Lamar Jackson at all over the summer. So this is very encouraging going forward. His 4 catches were actually 4 first downs as well. So I think really Rashad Bateman is going to be a security blanket for Lamar Jackson, who Lamar Jackson has looked pretty good so far. He's looked good in this game. This team looks really good. I expect Rashad Bateman to be the number 2 in this offense at some point. It's probably going to take a little bit of time, but going forward, Rashad Bateman is somebody that needs to be rostered in your 10 teams plus leagues. So go see if he's available, and if he is, pick up Rashad Bateman. The next guys on the list is going to be Dearness Johnson and Demetric Felton. And I'm putting them both on the list right now because the situation is going to be tough to really read what's going to happen with Nick Chubb. I don't know if Nick Chubb's going to play this week. It's a short week, and you have Kareem Hunt, who got hurt in this game, went down with that calf injury, and it didn't look good. It was a non-contact injury, got carted to the locker room, couldn't put any weight on his foot, so doesn't look good. He's going to get an MRI tomorrow. We'll know the extent of his injury, but I highly doubt he's going to play this upcoming weekend. So what I envision is if you have Nick Chubb, if he can't play this week, you're going to have Dearness Johnson, who's really going to probably be the team's early down back is what I envision. And then you're going to have Felton, who was a wide receiver in college, except his last year. He was a running back. So he's more of a converted wide receiver / running back. He's probably going to lead the third down charge for this team. So Dearness Johnson has value. So does Demetric Felton, especially if you're in like a full point PPR, a PPR league. But really, it's a complicated situation right now. It's a very complicated situation. They're missing offensive linemen. I don't know if Nick Chubb plays, but hey, when you have 6 teams on bye and you have the injuries that you've already had this season, one of these guys is going to be viable in fantasy football this upcoming week as a flex play. And if I had to bet my money on it, it would be Dearness Johnson if Nick Chubb can't go. So Dearness Johnson would be the guy that I would want the most, followed by Felton. If you don't want to put in a claim for one of these guys, I don't blame you. It's a really fluid situation right now, but Dearness Johnson would be the first guy that I would want. Next, we're going to have another group of guys, AJ Green and Christian Kirk. And chances are they're probably not available in a lot of your leagues. Once again, like I said, this is a brutal week for the waiver wire. But if they are, they're currently both under 50% rostered. AJ Green, Christian Kirk should be rostered. They both scored a touchdown this past weekend. Really, Kyler Murray's moving the ball really well, and they play Houston this upcoming week. So expect a lot of points to be scored. They're going to be involved in the offense. They're playing snaps. So if you need some guys this upcoming weekend as a flex play, as a second wide receiver or something, these are 2 guys that are going to be viable in your league. So AJ Green and Christian Kirk. The next player on the list is going to be Ricky Seals-Jones. So if you need some tight end help this upcoming week, and if he wasn't already picked up, currently he's being rostered in 28% of your Yahoo leagues. But if you need tight end help, he's going to be your guy. He's going to play the Green Bay Packers. He just scored a touchdown this past weekend. He's seeing targets with Logan Thomas. Going to miss another week here against Green Bay. Fire him up as a tight end. Play this upcoming weekend when, once again, you have a lot of teams on bye, so Ricky Seals-Jones is a viable option at the tight end position. The next player on the list is going to be Jaret Patterson. And going back to J.D. McKissic, what I was talking about earlier with Antonio Gibson is that he has a stress fracture. He left this game twice. The first time he came back in, the second time he didn't come back in. He was out for the rest of the game. So as of recording this, I don't know if he's going to play next week or not. Now, if you have a situation where he does miss next week, they also have a bye week coming up in a couple weeks. So maybe they sit him until the bye week. And if they do, I believe Patterson is going to be the early down back for this team, while you're probably going to have J.D. McKissic kind of mix in there a little bit as well. But probably Patterson will be the early down guy while you have J.D. McKissic just in his regular role in this offense. I don't expect J.D. McKissic to really take over the backfield totally. I envision Patterson to be involved to some capacity. So once again, with all the teams on bye week, if you have Antonio Gibson miss time, Patterson becomes a flex option for you in those leagues where you're kind of desperate right now and you need somebody to play. So Jaret Patterson, the next guy. The next player on the list is going to be Rashad Penny. And Rashad Penny right now is on IR. They expect him to come back next week and practice. Now, I don't know if he's going to play next week, but it looks likely he's going to practice, which hopefully he plays. And this is somebody that I would just stash right now because you have Chris Carson, who went on IR and is at least going to miss 3 weeks. We don't know how long he's actually going to be out for, but it's at least 3 weeks. Rashad Penny was a former first-round draft pick who really hasn't lived up at all to the expectations, largely due to injury. There's been some moments where he's flashed his potential, but then, like, the next week he's hurt. So he's already hurt right now. And when he comes back, maybe he ends up getting hurt once again. But Alex Collins, throughout his career, really hasn't been that healthy either. So you have these two backs right now where Rashad Penny, I would assume, if you have Alex Collins, maybe miss some time. Rashad Penny would become the next guy up once he's fully healthy. And I do envision him being involved in this offense once he comes back, once he's healthy. So if that's next week, that's great. I probably wouldn't start him, but he would be somebody that I would just stash away if you're able to put that space on your bench right now. So Rashad Penny, the next person. The next player is going to be Devonta Freeman. And I can't believe I'm saying his name, but he becomes viable right now because you have Latavius Murray, who left this game with an ankle injury. Now, they were beating up on the Los Angeles Chargers, so I don't think that this injury is really serious. But if he does miss some time, I would expect Devonta Freeman to be more involved in this offense. And he showed a little bit of his burst at times, but I mean, this is the Ravens that we're talking about. A Ravens team that's really able to run the ball on anybody. And this was a really good matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers, who the Chargers have been getting crushed on the ground against the running back this season so far. So Devonta Freeman, though, if you have Latavius Murray miss time, would probably be the next guy up. So Devonta Freeman is the next guy. The next player on the list is going to be Tyson Williams. And if you have Latavius Murray, I envision he'll probably be active. But right now, I just think this whole situation is a little weird. I find it very hard to believe that Tyson Williams is not better than Latavius Murray, Devonta Freeman, or Le'Veon Bell. He's the fourth best back on this team. When in the summer, you had them okay. Like, they looked like they were totally going to roll with Gus Edwards and Tyson Williams. Now, they did work out after Justice Hill got hurt. They did work out Devonta Freeman and Le'Veon Bell, but they looked like they were ready to roll with Tyson Williams and Gus Edwards. So right now, to have all these free agents come in that weren't even being considered prior to Justice Hill being hurt, now you have these guys starting over Tyson Williams. To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And you had a report from Adam Scheffler come out that the Baltimore Ravens are drawing interest from other teams in their running back group. So maybe this is why Tyson Williams has been inactive. They don't want him to get hurt because maybe they're going to trade him and just roll with the veterans. And you already have some teams, like you already have Kareem Hunt get hurt, and you're probably going to have some more injuries before November 2nd when the trade deadline is over. So you're probably going to have some more injuries. So right now, Tyson Williams, to me, becomes kind of like a Marlon Mack in the sense where you maybe store him and see where he ends up. keep him on your bench and see where he could possibly end up. And if he doesn't get traded, then at that time, like, totally droppable. I mean, he's basically droppable right now, but if you are able to just keep him on your bench and see what happens, Tyson Williams has some interest like Marlon Mack in that regard. So Tyson Williams is the next person. The next player on the list is going to be Michael Gallup. And currently he's rostered in 45% of your leagues right now. He's still on IR. And I think that if he doesn't come back next week, you're probably going to have teams that are going to have to drop him, especially with the 6 teams on bye and more players going on IR. This past weekend, I had to drop him. I had no room on my team for him. I had to move George Kittle into my IR spot, so I had to drop Michael Gallup. And you're probably going to have the same thing happen with some of these other teams where they're not going to have the room right now with these teams on bye, players on IR, so they're going to have to drop Michael Gallup. And I think Michael Gallup, once he comes back, is going to be good for fantasy football. But it's just right now, you're going to have teams that can't play him, especially if he doesn't play this week. So if he gets dropped, I would pick him up. This Dallas offense is a high-octane passing offense, one of the best offenses in the NFL. And I think he's going to be a valuable piece of that offense going forward. And if there were anything to happen to Amari Cooper, who's already banged up, or a CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup's value shoots up a lot. So Michael Gallup, for me, is somebody that I would add if he gets dropped and you're able to put him on your bench. So Michael Gallup is the next guy. The next player is Tua Tagovailoa. If you need a streaming option this upcoming week at the quarterback position, Tua is your guy. Tua was pretty solid against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a game that they lost, and Brian Flores is probably going to lose his job here soon with that ugly loss. But Tua looked decent this game. He threw for over 300 passing yards, had 2 touchdowns, and next week gets Atlanta Falcons, which is another favorable matchup. And possibly he might have Devontae Parker come back, which will be good for him in this offense. But next week, he's definitely a streaming option if you have some of these quarterbacks that are going to be on bye. So Tua, for me, is the first streaming option. The next streaming option at the quarterback position is going to be Jameis Winston. And next week, he gets the Seattle Seahawks. And I don't know if Michael Thomas is going to be back next week. But regardless, I like this matchup for him. The Seattle defense right now is not very good against the running back, wide receiver position, quarterback position. Everything right now, it's not very good. So I like Jameis Winston next week. I think he's a solid option to try to stream. And then, of course, the last guy for me is going to be Trey Lance. Now, we don't know if Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback or if you're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo. You're probably not going to go when the waiver wire period is up. But if Trey Lance is a starting quarterback, I 100% want Trey Lance over Tua and Jameis Winston. I think Trey Lance has top 10 potential in this offense because of his rushing upside. The guy rushed for 16. He had 16 carries, 89 yards last week. That's the potential that you get with Trey Lance. Yes, he may be a little bit inaccurate because he's a rookie quarterback and has a really big, powerful arm, but the rushing upside is crazy. Take Jalen Hurts, for instance. Jalen Hurts keeps his fantasy value alive with his legs, and that's what will happen with Trey Lance. So that does it here. If there's somebody that I left off the list, once again, this is very early when I'm recording this. If I left somebody off the list, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.